Hello, everybody, and welcome to Go Get That Rose, a Bachelor Nation podcast for those of us who, quite frankly, just can't get enough of the train wreck. And holy crap, has it been a train wreck this season, and it all just really derailed this past week. Sara's not here with us this week. She's out of town, so she's entrusted me, Jay Wade, to go over this week's episode with you guys. It's going to be just a quick recap. Then on next week's episode, she and I will talk a little bit about the happenings here with Luke and Jed mostly. Tyler had a little bit of a rough one there for a few minutes to us at least. And Pete looks like he's in there. Looks like he's the golden boy now. So, let's see what happens. Right now, we've got Tyler, Peter, Luke, and Jed left. They were in Crete, Greece. This is the fantasy suite week. Me being a noob, this is my first season watching. So this was a whole new experience for me, this one here. So this was exciting. But bear with me here as I go through what happened. Her first single date this time was with Peter, good old Peter. After their last date in the hometown and the plane flight that he took her on, the plane ride, that was lovely. She got along well with his family. His family seemed really nice. And going into that, she had said that Peter had a slow start, but he's passionate and nice. And then she said, well, it wasn't a quote, but she basically said, if all goes well, they're gonna get down in the fantasy suite, which I don't know. I come from a little bit of an older generation than Sara. I know that she's, she doesn't, I don't know. I don't want to speak for her, but it just, this whole, she even said at one point that going into the fantasy suite, this is like her time to get physical and have sex with the guys and whatnot. And I mean, if that's how you look at it, that's how you look at it. That's fine. That's neither here nor there to me or what I think about things. But anyway, let's roll on with it because, it got interesting as it went on with Peter here. And let me say now, what's with all the running and the jumping and then wrapping her legs around all the guys' waists? For real, I don't know. That's just a little goofy to me, but it's cute. I guess if I were the guy that were catching her, that'd be all right. But her and Peter, they go down to the boat and they're out on the sea. I'm not sure, man. I do love Roman history, but I can't believe I don't know. Is that the Mediterranean? I mean, I think it is, but I don't know. But anyway, it was absolutely beautiful. It was lovely. Such blue water. They were going by cliffs. It was really nice. But at one point, they reenacted the Titanic scene where they're standing on the front and the whole, I'm the king of the world. And then she says, I'm the queen. And Sara would have loved that. I was laughing my butt off. He asked her, do you know how much I like you? And I'm thinking, that's a good move. Because you're not, you're not, throwing too much at her at once, but evidently that wasn't good enough for her because, she wants love. And, in my opinion, she's naive to think that she's going to find love from anyone after only, 30-some days? I don't know how long it is, 34, 40 days or whatever. Whatever it is, it's way too short. I mean, I believe you can meet someone and develop a relationship that could last forever and that could turn into love. But by the end of this competition, she wants to find love? Hey man, good luck to you, Hannah, babe. But, I don't know about that. Of course, there are other couples who are together, who are married, but I would be interested in talking to them about the love aspect of it, and maybe they said it to each other on the show within this short amount of time, but even then, did they really mean it? Like, maybe they meant it at the time, but later on, when they stayed together, did they realize that it wasn't love that they felt when they first said it in that short time? And the real love grew after that. That's what I'd be interested in hearing from some of the folks who who have stayed together on this show. And it'd be real interesting to hear from some of the folks who have said that they love the other person and ended up not winning. So, but anyway, then, later on, you know, it's your typical first date, or it's your typical, single dates. They normally are. Nothing really specific stands out. It's a lot of blah, 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 but there are those rare moments where you get a glimpse of something nuts and awesome, mostly from Luke, but a lot from Jed this week. But anyway, they get back to the villa, and he's saying that he can't lose Hannah. And again, I go to jumping to his side. He can't lose her. One, he doesn't have her. He doesn't really know her. It just, I can imagine how disastrous some of these things could be when they pick someone and then they go home and they're like, holy crap. You know, realizing on their own that maybe some of these people are insane or a little off. And then having to watch the show, like say she picks Luke, okay? And all this time she's been watching the show knowing she picked him. Is she kicking herself? Like, what the hell am I doing? I don't know. Let's keep moving on here. I can tend to ramble sometimes about this. It just amazes me. But, he toasts to love and fate, and then he pulls out the cheers in Greece. He says cheers in Greek. That was smooth. I'll give it to you, bud. That was smooth. And she was totally looking into that, man. I mean, big time. And they reflected on the success of the hometown visit, and he just kept beating around the bush. He was so nervous, you could tell, and just kept talking. And he says that he's never been his true self before her. Now, hold on. I'm sorry, but every guy tells a girl that he's interested in dating, whatever, that she has brought out his true self. That he's never been able to open up before. He's never been who he really is. Every girl that he's into, not Peter here, and I'm just saying men in general, okay? Myself included, I've done it, okay? And it's not a lie, it's in that moment. It's true, but considering that guys say that to girls all the time, it begs a question to me. So every girl that he meets, he reveals and finds out a little bit more about himself. And I don't know. It's just, you know, cause say she's brought out his true self. And then the girl after Hannah, so how much you want to bet she brings out his true self too? And then the girl after her, I bet she brings out his true self too. And then the girl after her, and so on. But, I mean, that's just maybe a guy's perspective from that. But it's amazing. I love this show so much. I love it so much. It is my new guilty pleasure. I just can't get enough. So, she's totally into it. And he says he's never been in his true self with anyone else. Then he says, I'm in love with you. And she was so freaking happy to hear that. I mean, wow. I thought her face was going to jump off of her freaking face. She was so happy. It was great. And, of course, they go to the fantasy suite. And when they went there, I was thinking, now he better have that rubber that he had in his Beamer. And, they go up there, and it's in a windmill. This suite is in a windmill. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really nice. And she's looking around in some stuff, and sure as hell, she found a condom. And then she blew, excuse me, out the candle. She blew out the candle. And sorry about that. And then the next morning, she said she felt amazing, and he's so loving, and just they never say whether or not they had sex for sure, but they always do those little hints like it was amazing and just all those little hints. And then the last thing we see from Peter before he leaves the date is he said that they definitely took it to the next level. Go Hannah. Then he just mic dropped it and walked away saying, Hannah's mine. Is that true? We shall find out for sure. Then we move on to her second single date, which was with Tyler. Ooh, she likes her some Tyler. I've never heard a woman talk about a man's body and how much she wants it as much as I've heard Hannah B talk about Tyler's body and how much she wants it. Girl, woo! So she wants Tyler, and they go to the spa, which is perfect for them. And that was set up. Come on, because they're really physical, so they're just trying to get them down to as few clothes as possible. So that was set up, but they're in the spa and they're laying down and talking for a little bit and talking about the hometown visit and how much they both loved it. And he was asking how her conversation with his dad went, and they were both totally into the hometown visit again, just like Peter. They had great times, and And again, she keeps going on about how she wants him so bad and he tempts her, but she's scared about the lack of emotional communication, which is good, really, that she's expressing that. Now, I don't doubt that she's felt that way the whole time, but just the fact that she's expressing that is great because we as the viewers get to hear it. Otherwise, it's just kind of like she's just like some horny broad from Alabama, you know what I'm saying? So that was really nice, and they go from there to the villa, and he tells her their future is close, and that it's real, and she looks like she's about to let him down, and she says that she needs more than just a physical relationship, because they have been really physical, and she said that too, that like they have no problem kissing and touching and making out and whatnot. And she's right about that. And she said that she didn't want to go to the fantasy suite and have sex with him until they get an emotional connection. And he said that the fantasy suite isn't about sex for him, which smooth move, bro. And I was thinking about this earlier, and you guys have already seen it, so you know what happens. And for my money is down on Peter to end up winning here. But I was thinking a little bit ago, Tyler, that was a really smooth move. She obviously, she banged Peter, and she didn't Tyler. And out of those two guys, I think it was a really smooth move on Tyler's part to say what he did. And they said they just cuddled and kissed all night, and that might end up getting him the win over Peter. It really might. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm looking forward to finding out. But they did go to the fantasy suite. No sex, but they kissed and cuddled. And I wrote down in my notes, no sex for you! But he said he knows it's love and it's meant to be, and that she was and she was emotional when he left. Now, I don't know, that could go two ways. You know, that could be that she knew in that moment after the night of no sex that he wasn't the one she wanted to be with, or she could be really super confused now because that night of no sex and how he handled her conversation with him so well maybe catapulted him ahead of Peter at this point. If in fact they go on the dates in the order that they show them to us. I'm absolutely sure that Luke's date was after Peter's. Yeah. Go Hannah, that was awesome. But yes, no sex for Tyler, and he moves on, and we move on with Hannah to her third single date, which is with Jed. Jed, the frickin' dog a-hole. We don't like Jed around here on this show. Many reasons. And Sara and I were both shocked that she did not give him the boot last week after that disastrous and disgusting meeting with his family. The hometown with his family was terrible. One, because his date that he chose was take her to a music studio where once again he pushed his frickin' music, insulting her to her face, which she ate it up, sadly, and then goes to his parents' house, meets his mom and dad and sister, and all three of them proceed to tell her that pretty much his music career is number one priority and he doesn't have time for you, you're not good for him, and it's all about his music. They also failed to mention his girlfriend that he had, supposedly had, we should say, I guess, before he went on this show. But we don't like Jed around here, but Jed's still brewing from last week, because he's still PO'd that he's on the same level and being compared in any way to Luke. That's really bugging him, and that to me shows right there that he definitely, if you didn't know before, he definitely is not there for Hannah. Jed is not there for Hannah. Luke is not there for Hannah. Luke's there to win. It could be a frog jumping contest, dude. Luke just wants to win. Jed, at this point, I don't think it's about his music anymore. He just doesn't want to lose to Luke. And that is terrible. Two disgusting people right there with disgusting reasons for being on here. And I hope that in the end we find that Hannah picked a guy that really does do well for her. But Jed's still brewing after last week, and he said that he's just going to focus all his energy on her. And let's see how that works out, buddy, because they go around the village, taking in the culture, they're enjoying everything, they meet a family, and it's, there's love in the air, and another one of those plants where the guy's talking like, this looks like true love, and then a woman there just flat out starts asking Hannah about the other guys, if she's chosen, how she's gonna choose, right in front of Jed. Oh, he's not happy. And he's just making himself look like a little frickin', oh my gosh. I'm trying to keep it clean here for the kiddos, but I'm not a big fan of Jed or his attitude. But he pulls her aside, and he asks for clarity about Luke, and then goes into Luke mode, where he's trashing Luke and wants to know why Luke's still around. And now this, after everything Hannah's been through, man, this is the wrong thing to do and the absolute worst time to do it, Jetty boy. You just turned into the guy that she's been struggling with this whole time. Even though you're a jerk, dude, you were doing good there for a while, but smooth move on derailing that one, dude. And but it wasn't derailed, because she liked how honest that he was to her. But once he pulls her aside and they have this discussion, she says, like, how honest do you want me to be? And at the start, she had strong feelings that she can't describe for Luke, but she's still trying to figure it out, is what she told him, and he was not accepting of that. You could tell as the viewer. But nonetheless, they meet for dinner later that night, I guess because they have to, and she wants to. She's into Jed. It's weird. They meet for dinner, and the toast was extremely awkward. She appreciated the convo when he pulled her aside, but I don't know. Is it really what's best for her that he wants? Because that's what he's playing, that I want what's best for you. I love you, but if you don't pick me, I just want you to be with the best possible guy you can be with. Now, guys like me say that because we mean it. Because we're not pretty boys. We're not skinny guys. We're not chiseled God's gift to women. And we mean that stuff, okay? I don't believe it from him whatsoever. I just don't believe it from him. He's saying this because he doesn't want Luke to win, and it's killing him. Then he goes on, and he goes on that it affects how he feels because she's into Luke. And I wonder if he's trying to get out of this one. Because his girlfriend back home, maybe he's feeling bad about that. And we got to remember, this was all filmed a little bit back, so maybe he's feeling guilty at this point. But it sounded like he was trying to dump her. To me, that's how I took it. I took it as like he was trying to do one of those, sabotage it, really. Trying to upset her and make her end it, but he didn't really say it was over. I don't know what the heck was going on. It was crazy. But she said that she's worried, or he said that he's worried, and when he's worried, he retracts his feelings. And I'm thinking, one, how do you love her already anyway? And two, now all of a sudden you don't love her because she is keeping you on the same level as Luke. It was just crazy. But, I mean, after all of this, and she walked away and he chased after her, and she let him have it, but she ends up going to the suite with him. She ends up going to the suite, and he just immediately throws her on the bed. And the next morning, she said, with Jed, it's honest and sincere. Really? Really? Okay. And they're so happy, and she looks like it's a fairy tale. For real, when he leaves. For real. And I wrote in my notes, no, Hannah, no! So by now, oh my gosh, by now I'm ready for Luke, because I'm ready for the fireworks, and I'm just ready to get past Jed. So Luke obviously is still in that. He knows that she's the one for him, and he looks really excited. I mean, he's like a freaking dog, and you just said, want to go for a ride? And he is at the door ready to pounce, dude. And she enjoyed their hometown, and she said it went well, and she's ready to take it to the next chapter, aka sex. Okay, because I don't know how I feel about that mentality of that's the purpose, but she made it clear that the purpose of the fantasy suite is to have sex, to see if that physical attraction, see if that part of it is there. I do not agree with that at all. I think it's maybe a little slutty, but I'm also 40 years old, and I come from a little bit more of a conservative time, and I'm from the Midwest. Who knows? But that's how I don't understand that mentality. But she was impressed with Luke from that day. They had a good day. At dinner, he says that that his future wife, he wants it the way he wants it. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Controlling a-hole Luke mode starting now. And he goes into how family and history and sex, and says sex should only be in marriage. And he's been saving himself for marriage for, I thought he said 6 or 7 years. I don't know if I misheard that. Maybe it was more like 4. But he said he's saving himself again. He's not a virgin, but he's saving himself. And he wants her to say that she's saving herself too. AKA, he just wants to know if she banged any of the other guys, and he doesn't have the balls to just come out and say it and ask in a respectful and kind manner. That's all that is. Dude, you can be completely kind and respectful and find that out. And I'm sure if you would have approached it in that way, she would have appreciated that, been honest with you, and it would have been no big deal as far as that goes. But you're a nutbag, Luke, so here we go. He wants her to say if she slept with anyone. She's not saying that she has. And he just keeps drilling it into her, saying that they can work past it and it's not the end if she made a mistake or a mishap or a slip up. That's what a slip up. Like with Peter, for example, it just, in that 10 seconds of lust, I decided to sleep with him. It was a slip up. Oops. Dude, Luke, you're a jerk, bro. You're a freaking jerk. How dare you, man? That was ticking me off. And, he said flat out that if she had sex with, he said all of. He goes, one or all of the guys. What a jerk, man. He made it, I did too. He made it sound like it was some sort of a possible gangbang she had with these guys. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? You made it this far. You probably should have went home last week, but she kept you around, and Jed, but she kept you around, and you're doing, wow. So, he's going off, and she says that, she can't believe that he's talking to her like that, and that it's none of his business, and she tells him flat out to leave. I mean, dude, she's cussing at him. She has had it. Tells him to leave, and that was beautiful. He would not get up. How do you not get up? I mean, it's because he's delusional and he's controlling, and he thinks that she is his. He thinks that she's been his and that she is his and that she will always be his. How he thinks this, I don't know. But she finally gets him to get up out of the chair, and she's trying to walk him to the limo, and he's dragging his feet, literally, it seems. And she finally gets him outside next to the limo, and he just keeps asking for one more minute. He wants to explain to her his feelings. He wants to talk to her. She says no. She's had enough. And he says, something inside of me won't let me get in the car. And then he asks to pray with her before he goes. And she's like, no. And kudos for that, because that was his last-ditch attempt at bringing God into it and trying to use his religion and his faith to manipulate her. And that, like Sarah and I have talked about before, both of us having grown up in the church, that is really irritating behavior. It's disgusting. And she flipped him the bird when he drove off. That is for sure. And that was the end of that episode. And I cannot wait for this coming week. One, because it's getting really good, and two, because Sara will be back, and that's always fun. We need her around here. I need her around here. Come back, Sara. But next week they did show clips, and Luke comes back on his own. The show didn't bring. He comes back on his own, and he says she doesn't think that I want her anymore. Is what he's saying, but that she's mistaken. It's like, dude, no, she doesn't want you anymore, is what's going on. He just cannot get it. But in the clip from next week, she tells him to leave, and then he just starts threatening the other guys. It's going to be good. But next week, we got the tell-all episode with the return of Luke, and he strips down to a tiny little bathing suit I saw in a clip. So I would assume that he's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise. If that's the case, one, I don't know how his Christian ways are going to work there. And two, after seeing him on this, well, I don't know when it's been filmed, but holy hell, after seeing him on this season of Bachelorette, who would want to, someone would be interested in this guy. But in 2 weeks, we got the series finale. And that'll do it for this episode of Go Get That Rose. Want to thank you very much for joining me. And like I said, Sara will be back next week. You can follow me on the Twitter at jwade1134. That is the letter J, W-A-D-E, 1134. You can find this show, Go Get That Rose, and more. Actually, Sara and I do another podcast together on that same network, and there are others too. But you can find the show on the Merc with a Movie blog feed. That is Merc with a Movie blog on SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Apple Play. And we also now are putting up Go Get That Rose episodes on YouTube. Go to Merc with a Movie blog channel, and you can find us there. Thank you all again for listening, and hey, we will see you next week to find out what is going on with Hannah B and who is gonna go get that rose.